Welcome to a special collaborative presentation between the Birmingham Black Business Initiative and the Light Dome Podcast Studio. I'm your host, Katisha Anderson, and today we're sitting down with a man whose life and career have been defined by a search for the truth, a commitment to justice, and a deep-seated legacy right here in the Magic City. Our guest today carries a badge of honor that started long before he put one on. He is the son of one of the first Black female officers in the history of the Birmingham Police Department. Following in those footsteps, he rose to become a veteran homicide investigator, cementing a legacy track record that includes a 92% solve rate and 100% conviction rate. To many of you across the country, he is a familiar face from years spent on the First 48 or as an investigator on A Reasonable Doubt, where he took on the heavy task of identifying potential wrongful convictions. But beyond the Hollywood labels and the TV screen, he is a mentor in the 100 Black Men of Metro Birmingham and currently serves as the police chief at Talladega College. He has seen the both sides of the yellow tape and investigating murders to bring closure to families and investigating innocence to ensure the system works as it should. Now he is stepping into a new arena as a candidate for Jefferson County Sheriff, looking to address the homicide paradox, property crime spikes, and the future of policing for the next generation. Please welcome to the studio, Chief Chris Anderson.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a long time coming. I appreciate you.
How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
Campaign treat you well?
Campaign is campaigning. It has its ups and downs, but I love it. I love talking to people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's great, man.
Yeah.
I know I've been seeing you, so. Good.
He's been in houses, he's been everywhere. So.
You say knock on the door, boots on the ground. That's you.
That's me.
That is you.
But that's what I'm used to. You know, that's the way you have to get after it when you've been where I've been.
So, you've maintained a 100% conviction rate. In simple terms, for those who don't know those stats, why is it so significant for a victim's family?
So I'm a believer in true justice, you know, and I don't charge people if I don't know that there's an absolute certainty that we're going to get a conviction, because you have to be careful about that. Taking someone's freedom is extremely serious, and it is extremely hard, and I know this firsthand, in order to right wrongs when you could have done it in the forefront. So yeah, I take it very serious. Maintaining the 100% clearance rate, conviction rate is something that, you know, I never talk about it, I never brag about it, because someone's had to lose their life behind it.
Yes, sir. So, with your mother as one of the first Black female officers in Birmingham, how did her legacy shape the way you approach the badge?
So you got to think of when she hired on. That, you know, she was one of the, that would not, you couldn't go to the Birmingham Police Department and everywhere you stop, you'd see someone of color working, much less Black females. So it took a lot for them to get the opportunity to be law enforcement officers, but it made me proud, because my mom was everybody's mom. You know what I'm saying? She was, no matter where, if she wore the badge or if she was at home in her house dress, she was the same person. So it was seeing her compassion while she was at work, seeing the compassion that she had for the young men that would come into my house and playing basketball in my backyard. It taught me respect for the badge and how that you can operate as a law enforcement officer with compassion.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next question is, you spent years on the First 48. Mm-hmm. What's the biggest misconception that people have about how a real homicide investigation works?
Oh, about the way it works. So there is no way that you can capture all of the emotions or work or time spent in a homicide investigation in an hour-long show. They did a very good job of showing it, but that's probably about 10% of it, because there were plenty of times, you know, and there's this misconception that you have to get it solved in the first 48 hours. That's a misnomer. That's not true. You have to have that first lead. Having that first lead within the first 48 hours is critical. So what you would see is a recorded, cut down version of us scrambling to get an initial lead in cases, because everything that they say, is if you don't get it solved in or get a lead within the first 48 hours, it cuts the rate of solving those cases by almost 50%. Can it be solved? Absolutely, it can still be solved. But you want to gather as much information as you can early in order to bring justice to the people that deserve it.
So you're saying it's exactly what it says, reality TV.
Yeah, it's real now. It's definitely real.
Okay. So you're a TV star. Some people say that makes you Hollywood, out of touch with the grit of Jefferson County. How do you prove to a 21-year-old young man, hey, I'm not out of touch? This is, my face on the screen.
Hollywood didn't make the man you see before you.
Okay.
I like that response.
Okay.
Definitely like that
Bingo.
response.
The streets of Birmingham, the streets of Jefferson County made the man that you see before you today. And it took a lot of work. It took a lot of people praying for me. It took a lot of tears. It took some fall offs and some bounce backs to make who I am today. So what you see is the results of a lot of molding, a lot of shaping, and a whole lot of prayer.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Definitely. So you've actually seen both sides. You've investigated murders and you've also investigated potential innocence. How does that make you a better candidate to be sheriff than a traditional politician who has not seen both sides of it?
So we need people in positions that are willing to stand up against everything, including if it means standing up against your own profession. That's what I did with reasonable doubt. That's what the man that I am, because I believe in true justice. You can't find justice if you sit back and look at an investigation and say, okay, this dude shouldn't have been convicted, or this woman shouldn't have been convicted, and you do nothing about it. You have to do something. You have to act. That's what true justice is.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, totally. So you're currently the police chief at Talladega College.
Mm-hmm.
How does running a campus department prepare you for the massive, multi-million-dollar scale of Jefferson County Sheriff's Office?
Wow. So here's the answer to that.
Okay.
The position that I'm in now has prepared me unbelievably, because you are responsible for doing everything in a smaller department. That means that you have prepared yourself, you've been trained in order to watch over the people that you now will have doing the items that you've done yourself. So now you have the experience. So the position I have now has given me the experience of knowing how to run a department, because now I got people that'll be responsible for it. I can always hold them accountable on when they do something wrong or when they do something right, because I've done the job before. I had to do it.
I know there's going to be a big change going from a college campus to
I think
I don't-
children are more immature, so this might be a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so too, because look, you have to be able to move when you're inside of an institution. I learned a lot of our kids are first time college students. A lot of them that have never had the experience of being away from home. They don't have a person that they can reach out to and tell them, this is what I did in college, because they're first time college students, they're first generation college students.
Yeah.
So they don't have the experience that they can draw from. So I get a lot of kids, a lot of our students that come down to the office and they just sit down in the office with me and just talk to me like I'm Uncle Chris. But getting back to the job that I'm asking people to vote me into, I've done budgeting. I'm responsible for maintaining our budget now. I don't just haphazardly spend, because I don't haphazardly spend my own money. So I'm definitely not going to haphazardly spend the people's money. And making sure you put people in positions for success, that's a key portion of leadership. So all of that, I've been prepared for this position, and God has been preparing me for this position because I didn't just start policing at Talladega College. I worked at and led at one of the largest police departments in the state of Alabama. That's Birmingham.
Yes.
So that experience there, my experience in leadership with Talladega has only prepared me for this position.
Definitely, I can see that. So we're gonna move more into like crime and safety now. The first question I do want to ask is Birmingham did see a historic drop, about 44%. We're not gonna be specific on numbers in 2025. It's the first time under 100 in a decade. So as a veteran homicide detective, do you give the current administration credit for that, or are they just riding a national trend that's currently going on?
So let me be honest when I say this. And I don't discredit anybody's work, but I will say this. In 2022, 2023, and 2024 were some of the most dangerous years we've had in Jefferson County's history. But there was one leader of a city, I won't say his name, that put together a group of individuals to come together to help the crime problem in their city. That commission put together a lot of different strategies in order to bring crime down, while some sat on the sidelines and didn't do anything. Those strategies that were written, I held right.
Okay.
That's why you see a steep decline in crime in certain areas, because when you tackle a problem like the crime that we were having with a very strategic plan, then you have no choice but to see the results. And that's what happened.
Yes, sir. It was years of building.
Well, no, what the crime? Oh, yes, the crime was years of building. Absolutely, yes. But the crime commission that was put together,
Yeah.
that happened within a few months.
Okay.
And the strategies that were written were implemented immediately. So when you put together a strategic plan to combat crime and you bring in the community to help, that's when you see crime go down. That's when you see the results that you see now.
Yeah, 'cause I think the community was tired. Like, those were really treacherous years here.
They were very treacherous years, and seeing people brag about how crime is down now, to me, is terrible, because it doesn't mean that we're just safer. It means that we survived something we should have never had to endure.
Yes, sir.
Agreed.
Yes, sir. While murders are down, aggravated assault, theft, and burglary are actually up. If people aren't being killed, but still being robbed and their cars are broken into, do they actually feel safer? Or what is your day one plan for property crime?
Okay. So the way that you stop and lower crime in any spectrum of imagination is you gotta have boots on the ground. You gotta have people that are willing to work. Right now, the sheriff's office is working at about 75% staffing. And that's due to not only people retiring, but also people leaving for other departments. So I have a strategic plan for hiring and retention. That plan will be implemented extremely soon. You know, the first thing that I want to do in my first 90 days, I want to talk to every deputy that works with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Not the top brass, not the captains, not the deputy chiefs or under sheriffs or any of those positions. I want to talk to the people on the ground. Because one thing I want you to know, my plan, I want to know where you want to go and how can I get you to that position. And when people feel safe and want to work for you, that makes everybody safer.
I love that. That's pretty dope. So The next question is going to be, most homicides in Jefferson County involve guns. How do you stop the flow of illegal firearms into the hands of these 16, 17-year-olds without creating an environment where they're feeling like they're being harassed?
So that's where community comes into play. You have to. I mean, that's another reason why. That's another reason why we'll see a decrease in crime. Is because when you have the community's input and buy-in, and they're willing to trust the people that serve them, you can stop a lot of the crimes that happen before they happen. Because you need partnerships. You need people that are willing to put together programs to keep kids away from crime. Because what crime really is it's really a bad decision, and when it comes to young people, bad decisions, bad influence. So when we can impart ourselves or impact one of those areas, we can lower the crime. So yeah, it's partnerships. It's new strategies on keeping kids away from guns that will impact us and the community's health. That's how we can lower crime and lower the impact of gun violence in our community.
I can agree with that because I know recently Atlanta implemented like basketball after dark to where it's there allowing like the young men to come in and play and talk to like mentors within the community. And they've actually seen a decrease in their homicides as well. So I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm very big on all those workshops, leadership programs.
You're actually doing a workshop now, right?
Yeah, I'm actually putting one together now in May.
So yes, these are the type of partnerships that we need in the community, because look, and it's not just because basketball was my era. And I know kids and young people love basketball now, but we got kids that love flying what are those drones.
Yes.
You got kids that love podcasting. Yeah, that's
Making music,
making
everything.
music and beats and things of that nature. We've got to be able to operate and conduct multitasking. I'm sorry, yeah. My phone didn't know it wasn't gonna stay silent. Okay.
Being a chief police of college.
He's a man.
It's okay.
Okay.
But yes, sir, that is something very big. So in 2025, a major trend in Birmingham was domestic violence. So was domestic violence homicides, I'm sorry. Crimes that happen behind closed doors. How can a sheriff possibly prevent crimes that police can't see?
So that is community involvement. It really reflects on the community, or the response from the community is going to be important. So when you have a friend that's involved in a domestic violence relationship, you gotta talk to somebody. You gotta get them some help. And a lot of times I know a lot of folks don't want to listen to it. They don't want to hear it. Oh, it was a mistake. Now, a woman putting their hands on you in any case is not a mistake. And it starts off with, something as simple as a grab, or maybe a yelling and screaming, or crashing out every time something goes wrong. Those are all signs, and we need to train people in order to be able to look at those signs and be able to adjust what they're doing and how they're moving. Because it only 90% of the time it only gets worse.
I can agree with that. So, you do have a legendary solve rate and conviction rate, but the sheriff's job is primarily about prevention. How does being a great closer of murders make you a great preventer of crime before it happens?
So, yes, I've done the side of homicide, absolutely. But I've also done mentorships and created new programs for young people and for adults also. So I think that my life has prepared me, or my history with the position has prepared me for it. Yeah. Being able to hold people accountable for the crimes that they've done is good. It's paramount. It's very good for the position. But there was a young man by the name of Chris Anderson, and I know what it took for Chris Anderson to get to be Chief Chris Anderson. So we've got to impart early or impact crime before it happens, And the way that you do that is being in the community, being out and talking to these young people, being able to show them that, hey, there's a different way to do this. You just got to apply yourself.
And we definitely have to work on bridging that gap between the police and the community because, you know, people love saying, F the police or this, that, and the other until you actually need them. So we have to kind of get over that as people generally because that's just like a bad mentality to have. So I agree with that.
So, what's your stance on community policing?
I'm glad you asked that. Absolutely.
I mean, is it a buzzword, or do you have a plan to get deputies out of their cars and into the neighborhoods? I mean, because there's a difference between seeing a police officer pass by and one another stop and be like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Okay. So I'm hearing two things. Is community policing a buzzword? And it's absolutely not. Because being in the community is what helped me. You know, even though I grew up with a cop, I had plenty of cops that I knew that knew me, not just because they knew my mom, but they worked for my mom. They knew who I was as a young man in the streets. Because they worked those areas every single day. You know, so yeah, community policing, and that's where the sheriff's office would come in. There are several cities that have contracts with the sheriff's office. And I believe if you have a contract with the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office is responsible for the safety of that area, you have to have people that are working those areas that have a vested interest in working there. So I don't want to work. As me as a patrol officer, I always love working the beat because I don't want to have to work that hard every single day. I want to be able to go out on the streets, and if somebody jump out of their car and start running, hey, that's Marcus. Marcus is going over here to 1710 and running up in his house because that's where his mama and his auntie stay at. He ain't gonna go home to where his daddy stays. His daddy stay over here in the 2500 block. Yeah. That's what community policing does. You know the people that you work with. It gives you a vested interest in the community's safety. And that makes it much easier for the community to trust you when things are happening.
Agreed, definitely. Alrighty, so we're gonna kind of move on to some other hot issues.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
thought those were hot issues.
I mean they're all hot, but
Right,
these are
yeah, I'm just joking.
they're fire. I'm just playing. But right now in Birmingham, we have a sort of a battle between the mayor and the sheriff. There's been a huge legal battle between Mayor Whitford and Sheriff Petaway over housing city inmates in the county jail. If you were sheriff today, would you open those doors to Birmingham's receives, or would you stand your ground like the current sheriff has? Or what is your view on that situation?
So I think that case has already gone to court. The judge has decided that the sheriff's office cannot house prisoners from Birmingham. So we will follow the law. That's the law. We will follow the law. I'm always open to a conversation if it does not go against the law.
Definitely.
Sheriff Petaway says he's following the law. You know, critics say he's playing politics with the public, but where do you draw the line between the lawman and being a partner to the cities within the country?
So
within the county, I'm sorry.
So you have to have partnerships with the cities that you serve, you know, and I want to make the sheriff's office just an extension of what those cities are doing. So yes, you need that. You need those partnerships because one thing that I've seen in my 31 years of law enforcement, I don't believe that the sheriff's office. I won't say that. The partnerships between the sheriff's office and the police departments within the county can be stronger. I want to bridge that gap. So yes, we will have partnerships with every city that we serve and be an extension of what those cities are doing.
Right. And recently, the county commission froze 30% of the sheriff's budget due to physical concerns. Is the department being targeted, defunded, or is it just not being fiscally responsible? How do you fix the relationship with the people who hold the purse strings?
So I can't answer for what has happened in the past or in the past administrations. I don't want to answer that. I will say when elected, I will reach across the aisle house and work with anybody that's willing to work with public safety, because everyone that's vying for a position on that county commission, or the people that are in that position, understand the importance of public safety. So I will definitely reach across the aisles and make sure that we are working together as one in order to make Jefferson County the safest place in the country. That's our goal.
Yes, sir. So, I know, well, this happens with any job. You know, you see other jobs that may pay more or give you better this or better that. And you have that right now with some counties, with some sheriff that they can go to this place and make more money. Well, what is the Chris Anderson incentive to get them to stay with Jefferson County?
So last night I had an event, and there was an attendee there that asked a question, and she phrased it like this: people don't leave jobs just for finances, but they will definitely leave a bad boss in a heartbeat. Because if you see the ceiling, or you don't see anywhere where you can elevate or your hard work can be rewarded, why am I staying here? And this department is right around the corner and they're paying me X amount of dollars. So that's why I believe in sitting down with the people that will work for the sheriff's office, or the deputies that are out of boots on the ground and we need so badly. That's why I believe in sitting down with each and every one of them to find out where they want to go in the department and figure out how can I get them there. So my plan is to, number one, let them know I care. Number two, let them know that I'm invested in where they want to be. And number three, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to help them accomplish their goals. So that's a portion of the Chris Anderson plan. The other portion is, you gotta be competitive when these people are working. Jefferson County is not an easy place to work in, especially when you can go right around the corner and, where you feel the love and you feel it in your wallet, and you can work some extra jobs and things of that nature. So yeah, you have to be competitive in your pay. And like I said just a minute ago, everyone that is working and running for a position on the county commission are interested, and their top concerns are public safety. So we've got to make Jefferson County a place where people want to work. That's the other portion of the Chris Anderson plan.
Okay.
Got to make it more attractive.
Yes, sir. That always works.
Always there. So the next question is regarding the Jefferson County Jail. It's faced a lot of criticism based on the conditions. What is your plan to fix the infrastructure and personnel issues that are being rumored to have happened? Because I am not in jail, so I can't really tell you what's going on there.
We've got to fix the jail. You got to fix the jail. Not only does the jail, when you have deaths in the jail, and when you have it exist in such a dilapidated position that people are speaking of, it costs taxpayers a lot of money. It drains resources due to lawsuits and things of that nature. We gotta fix the jail. So I have a plan in place for that, where we can get the jail repaired, help some people get back into the workforce, and make it so that it's not so taxing and draining on the people's money. I do have a plan for that.
Okay.
When you say that about money, what is the first fiscally responsible move you make to show taxpayers you aren't wasting the money?
Number one, letting the biggest assets that we have in Jefferson County know that somebody cares, and that's the people. Because it's a waste of money for you to train a deputy, give him all the experience, you pay for the training, you pay him or her, and then 5 years down the line, after they've gained all that experience and you can start seeing some return on the investment, they pack up and leave. That's huge, because now you've let all of that experience go and you've got to bring someone else in and do the exact same thing. My goal is to retain these officers. My goal is to let them know that, hey, y'all are valued. I want you here. What can I do? That's the number one thing that I think we can do on day one to show that we are fiscally responsible with the people's money.
It kind of sounds like a relationship. You know, when a girl meets a guy and she's like, hey, this is the best year of my life.
Right,
You know,
right. Yeah.
I can dig that.
It kind of is. I never would have put it like that. That's why you get women working on your team. But they always think outside of that box.
Yes, sir.
So, in your show, Reasonable Doubt, you help identify wrongful convictions. How does that experience change how you will run Jefferson County Jail and how your deputies are trained to handle evidence and witnesses?
So I think that wow, that's a really broad question. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can marry the two. So because handling evidence is one thing, and when I think of it in homicide investigations. You know, that's one of the most important aspects of a homicide investigation. How that evidence was handled, what you did with it, when did you turn it in, was it logged in, what time did you log it in? Because these are all questions that I, as an investigator, would be asked if I were on the stand. So it's critically important to get enough training to these crime scene investigators to handle any case that you're doing. And on the other side, you talk about the jail. We know the conditions of the jail. We've heard about the conditions of the jail. It is imperative, and that's one of the main priorities of the sheriff's office, is to maintain the safety and the sanctity maintain the jail itself. So, and we've got to repair that jail. That is one of my top priorities. That is something that we'll start work on day one. And I got a lot of stuff that I'm gonna be doing because I'm planning on hitting the ground running when elected. That is my goal. Let's start work on the jail, see how we can get this done, at least put a plan together in order for us to get it repaired so we can take care of the people's money. And of course, training for our officers is gonna be imperative too.
So now this question now, when you have the bad apple policy, you know, if a deputy cuts corners on a conviction, what is the immediate consequence? Like no flood, what is the policy on what happens if somebody is caught doing that?
Cutting corners on an investigation requires a separate and independent investigation to make sure that if it is in fact true, how did it happen? When did it happen? Why did it happen? Separate, independent investigation. That's why you need a very, very well-trained, well-oiled machine in your internal affairs division. We will operate within the confines of the law. Hands down. If that fair and independent investigation is conducted and it's found that someone has operated outside of the law, then that's where discipline steps in. What that discipline is, it depends on what happened.
So, would you commit to a budget that puts a social worker or a mental health professional in a patrol car with deputies for 911 calls that involve people who have history of mental illnesses?
So, mental health and a mental health budget will be something that's a top priority on me, because I believe that we're just now realizing, or just now finding out, or I think we're just now understanding more about mental health and how it's affected in law enforcement. Putting a mental health worker inside of a vehicle, I don't know. Would I be willing to have an officer that's trained in mental health awareness and having him or her being certified in some sort of mental health field where they can be inside of a police car as a officer? yet be trained in order to handle a person when they are mentally, when they have mental health problems? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that can be done. Well, I don't want to say put a mental health worker inside of a vehicle, because you put that mental health worker in a line of fire, in a danger that they're not prepared for. But having an officer, trained, certified officer in that position, absolutely. Absolutely.
The sheriff's office has pushed for the crisis care center to divert cases from jail. Do you believe that this works, or is it just a mandate for a large room?
So I'd have to look at that crisis care policy and that strategy. I have my own plans
Okay.
for how mental health calls will be handled.
Yes, sir.
And if I can see where we can implement a strategy where the crisis care unit works, then yeah, we'll implement it. But I really need to look at it, because I have some specific agenda items that I want to have done with the sheriff's office to combat some of the issues that law enforcement are having with mental health breakdowns.
It's pretty dope to do that. So, to kind of go more on the mental health, there's been talk about equipping deputies with telehealth tablets to talk to doctors on scene. Do you think a deputy in a high stress situation has time for a Zoom call, or is that just tech watching the deeper problem?
You said these items were deeper, a little hot topic items, Maggie. You were definitely right.
Especially when most people are not going to ask you. So,
And I'm willing to answer. You know, I am always open to utilizing technology in police work where it's we've not done it in the past. I don't know if there is an opportunity for a Zoom call when you're in the midst of a person that is on the brink of a mental health breakdown. I've never been in that situation where I've had plenty, way too many mental health calls. And I've never had the opportunity to jump on a Zoom call because it happens just like that. I was like, hold on a second, be dialed this in. I think I got the right code in here. Let me make sure this Zoom call is connected. Do we got Wi-Fi in this house? Can I get your code? No, it doesn't work like that. And I don't want to make light of a situation because, you know, but we've got to, I think the better path would be to train officers in handling mental health situations, get them a certification, have 3 or 4 of them working during any shift where they could be on call, or having somebody on call that could come out and be able to take care of the emergency portion of the mental health call until we can get a full-fledged professional in a safe environment where they can help.
So many people in the 18 to 35 age range feel that voting for sheriff doesn't change their daily life. Give us one example of how Sheriff Anderson's victory directly improves the life of a 22-year-old in this county.
Man. So, you know, and I completely understand that. I think some of our young people believe that voting for your local elections is just the same as voting in a presidential election. Local elections affect your day-to-day life every day. So, while we probably don't have enough time to address every reason, I can tell you this. You are looking at a person who was in the same position that you were 20 years ago. Shaped and molded, didn't quite understand the system. You know, my mama just made me, hey, you need to go vote. You know, it wasn't even my mom, it was actually my grandmama. Yeah. My grandmama called me, you been to vote yet? She called me on my phone. Now, grandmama, you need to go down there and vote. You know, so seeing where you will be in the next 20 or 30 years. You're looking at it right now. You know, I came up in the streets of Birmingham. I came up in the areas where some of those are in the same mindset, you know, working every day. I got to take care of my family. I got a wife. I got a family that I got to take over. That take priority over me going down there and standing there voting. You know, that's what I would think as a 20-year-old back then if I didn't have my grandmama calling me every hour to make sure I voted. But you have to understand that every time you don't vote, it affects the job that you have, because you see people are losing their jobs every day now under this administration. It affects your daily life, because having the wrong person responsible for your safety makes you and your family less safer every day. So make the time, take the 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't take that long to go vote. Take the 15, 20 minutes to go down there and vote. But now we have to be more strategic with voting. We really do. Because this current administration, and not this current administration, any administration, they are looking to undo a lot of what your great-grandparents and your grandparents and your parents fought for. And we've got to make sure that never happens. It should not, with the, let me just stop it there. We gotta get out there and vote.
Yes, sir.
Exercise your right, no matter where you fall. Exercise that right.
I agree, because I remember when I first turned 18, this was when Obama was getting elected. And my grandfather made sure he took me down there to register to vote. Like it was a badge of right honor to actually go vote, and that's how I looked at it. So I definitely get that.
Yeah.
So this next question. So Birmingham has moved towards pardoning marijuana offenses, but the sheriff handles unincorporated areas. Will your deputies still be arresting people for a plant, or will you shift to like a violent crime focus?
So our focus will always be on violent crimes. Well, we will follow the law. You have to follow the law. I am a law and order sheriff. If we want to change how we respond to certain things, let's change the law. And we will follow the law. I can't allow my personal feelings to overarch what the law says.
I like that. I like that.
Very much so. So you're a leader in 100 Black men of Metro Birmingham. Mm-hmm. So when doing this, how do you tell a young Black man that you're his mentor on Saturday, but your deputies might pull him over for a broken tail light on Sunday?
So I'm gonna ask him, why your tail light is broken? You know, it's illegal. It's illegal. If you needed a new tail light, I mean, just call me. Just come on, let's go down.
Chris.
Call Uncle Chris. Let's go down here to one of these little part stores. We're gonna get you the part, and we're gonna figure out, because while I work on cars, I have worked on cars. I may not know. We can YouTube it. Yeah, and we'll sit down here and YouTube it and fix it together. But I mean, we've got to make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do as citizens. And riding with a broken tail light is illegal.
So I'm sorry, I gotta go off on this one. Look, so like I told you, I'm big on the mentorship. Mm-hmm. That's like one of my biggest things. Mm-hmm. Is, when we were talking about mentorship can tell young men, hey, yes, you got pulled over for a broken tail light, mm-hmm. but at the same time, why did you not fix it?
It's accountability.
Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest thing for us is mentorship, and I feel like that's what we need more of.
Absolutely.
And deputies coming in too, that will help a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I look. So I'm gonna go back to what I do now.
Okay.
As a chief of police at Talladega College, I get a lot of young people that are get themselves in some trouble.
Yeah.
And I have been to court more times than not than I have for arrest. I've been to court more times, speaking up for our young people. Now, there is work that you got to do on the front end before I'm going down there to talk to you, to anybody in the court system, because you didn't call me before you did what you did to get arrested or you did what you did to get this citation. So there's going to be some work on the front end. I just had, today was his last day, and I love this young man to death. And I've never met him until after he got into trouble. But he's a great young man, great kid. Got in trouble with a little marijuana. He got arrested, and he's one of he's an athlete with our institution. Now, I do this for everybody, not just for athletes. I do it for everybody. Even our video, I had to do a young man that was on our video game team the other day. I did the same thing for him. So his coach called me and said, "Look, Chief, I'm gonna put him on the team. Let's see he do something. I can't, and I can't discipline him, really. So we got to do something. So what do you suggest?" I said, "Well, send him up here to me. And let me see if I can talk to him first." So I sat down and talked to him. A young man came in and he was just a baller. He was just a baller. And I asked him, I'm like, what you crying for? And he was like, well, it's my team. I'm a key player. I'm a pretty good player on our team. And we just now getting to a point we starting to get it together, and then this happens, and I feel like I let the coach down, I let everybody down. This is what he's saying to me. So he's already holding himself accountable. So that's where I see a place where we can help. It's when somebody can come in before you. He doesn't know what I can do or if I can do anything for him, but he's already holding himself accountable. So that's where I see, okay, let's figure this out. So I told him, look, for the next 2 weeks, you've got to put in 35 hours of community service. And this ain't gonna be no easy community service either. It's gonna be some community service. So day one, he didn't have class. He came down there and worked 10 hours with me. 10 hours, and I ain't talking about, not at my office, I'm talking about, when I say with me, I put him out there with the yard crew. We doing a lot of building and planting flowers and things of that nature around campus. He planted flowers. He did some of everything. Worked 10 hours with me the first day. I put him with another crew. He worked 8 hours with them. That's 18 hours right there that he's already done. So by the end of the day, I gave him 2 weeks.
Sorry.
You're good. So I gave him 2 weeks to get the hours in. He did it in a week. And he still went to class every day because I made sure he was going to class and still getting his work done. I signed off on it, set him over there, and I said, look, you got to understand one thing. I don't know if you're going to get back on the team, because that's on coach. But if you stay out of trouble, I'm going to go up to court, and I'm going to talk to the courts about you. Let them know that you've been down here working with me, and see what we can do about this crime, about you not having to serve some time on this case, or maybe drop it down to something that's minuscule. So these are some of the things that we can do to impact the young person's life, because I don't think that one arrest should be a death sentence for somebody, especially somebody that's already trying to work and do better. They made a mistake. Kid is from an area that marijuana is illegal. He came here to get an education. He's a first generation college student. So we've got to operate with some compassion when it comes to law enforcement. Yes.
Okay. I kind of like the answer a lot because our young people do need guidance.
They do. Now we got to make sure that they are holding themselves accountable.
Yes.
We can't just hey, every time hey, don't worry about it, buddy, because no, that's not accountability. They're never gonna try to do better if we just keep coddling them and they keep getting into trouble. So sometimes you gotta just let them bump their heads.
Yes.
So then they'll learn from that. I bumped my head several times.
I got two little brothers, I definitely understand.
Right, it may not have been to the extent of being arrested, but still, I bumped my head several times. So, look, and it taught me that experience is the best teacher. There has to be a
Every
song.
time. Every time.
That's a song, but it's true. That's absolutely true.
Okay. So I'm going to combine these last two questions I have about the young people. How do you plan to rebuild trust so young people feel comfortable reporting the crimes or even talking to officers? And then in the same sense, what would you say to that little boy who said, oh, I want to be a police officer when I grow up, but due to the current climate, it's kind of like I'm scared. How do you address these young people?
Every day, every interaction, every time you sit with somebody. That's how trust is built. You got to keep that in the forefront that, hey, one of these days, this young man may be responsible for my protection. He may be responsible for my safety. And maybe there's something I can say to him to help him see a different tomorrow. So that's the impact of building trust with every interaction, everything that you do.
What does justice mean to Chris Anderson personally? We're gonna forget the screen. Me and you talking.
What does justice
What
mean
does
to
justice
me?
mean?
That is deep. Justice is the basis of everything that I've done in my life. Justice is the willingness to stand for those that can't stand for themselves, and also the willingness to stand up when things are wrong. That's justice.
Yes, sir.
I don't think there was anything more he could have said, right?
Watch that. They got me.
So, you've been a detective, a TV host, a mentor. Why is now the right time for you to be sheriff of Jefferson County?
Because in 2022 or 2018, I didn't get the change that I voted for. That's why. And I always tell our mentees, and I'm sure you can attest to this, in order for you to see the change, you got to be the change.
You gotta do it.
You got to.
You gotta do it. Yes.
So that's why I'm running.
That's
my
like
why.
something your grandma told you. And she proud of you for saying it right now. That's grandma baby right there.
I cried talking about Miss Jewel. I was at her church last week and I teared up because every time I looked in the crowd in her third row pew, I saw that hat she'll wear, one of them hats she'll have, and she'll be sitting there with her legs crossed watching her baby. And she watched it. So yeah.
She's still watching. She's
Still
smiling.
watching. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So if you could send one message to the families in Jefferson County who are currently living in fear of crime, what would it be?
Don't be scared. Don't live in fear. Just vote. Because if you don't vote, if you don't feel safer than you did in 2022 today, just vote. You gotta vote. It's time for a change. You gotta have change. It's time for it because you should not be living in fear in 2026.
Just vote.
Just vote.
I love that.
I like that as well. It kind of gives to. It's kind of bringing me back to that Obama, that change there. Like that's the feeling I'm getting right now about this.
Yes.
So, if you win, what is one visible change that I can expect to see in my neighborhood by 2027 that I don't see today?
You won't see the revolving door of your tax dollars going out of it, whether that's personnel, whether that's mismanagement, whether that's operational costs. I believe in operating in a manner where you are taking care of the people's investment. That's everything that I just spoke about. You've got to take care of it. So that will be changed day one.
Okay.
That's great. So tell the people how they can get involved in your campaign, where they can follow you on social media. What can we do?
Sure.
Can I get a t-shirt?
You know, look, man, I'm working on more t-shirts. You heard my video that I'm posting. This campaign is truly grassroots, and I wanted it that way for a specific person. I do not want to be beholden to anyone, any company, or anything of that nature. I want to be beholden to the people that I serve. So you can reach me anywhere. I'm on all social, well, I ain't gonna say all social media because I'm sure there's some out there that I don't.
So we don't know about.
So I am on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I have 2 Facebook pages. One is my personal page, the other one is my professional page, Detective Sergeant Chris Anderson. TikTok, you can find me at Detective Sergeant Chris Anderson. Yeah, it's on all platforms, except for my personal page, which is Chris Anderson, which will be hard to find because there are like 1 million of them. You can reach me there, or you can go to my website, electchrisanderson.com. If you'd like to make a donation, I'm more than willing to accept any donations. You can make it through electchrisanderson.com, or follow my page. I'll be posting more information because I've yet to really get out and push, the donation. But we are in the stretch now. This is the important time. So I will be fundraising up until the state says I can't fundraise anymore. But I'll be working every single day, even after being elected. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because May 19th is coming.
It's coming. It ain't stopping. It ain't slowing down. And I'm gonna be out there every day.
Yeah, you've been outside. Like, I was like, he at 4th Day, like he in the real streets, not like the, in the car with the security. I'm like,
no, that is not me.
Man, I want to tell you, I appreciate you coming in today.
Hey, I appreciate that.
I really appreciate you coming in. It was great talk. Everything was wonderful.
Thank you.
I learned more about you today than I knew before.
right.
Yeah, I hope everybody listens to this podcast, and hopefully I said something that'll impact you. Look, even if you don't, we can't stay at home this time. This is not the election for us to have a protest, because you are seeing the unraveling of every gain that we've had since 1960. You're seeing it unravel in real time. Vote, 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 and don't wait and not vote in this election, the primary election, because we got a lot of candidates that are running for different positions against people who have been a long time sitting in those positions. So if you don't feel safer, if you don't see any improvements in your area, this is the time to vote, because we lose a lot of candidates because people sit at home.
Okay.
And I'll be the next one if they don't.
So I got a Birmingham specific question for you. Favorite wing spot?
Favorite wing spot? Oh man, you finna put me.
Because I got to be right behind.
This is my favorite wing spot. Green Acres, right here on 4th Avenue.
The original.
The original one, yeah. The one with the pictures up there, Mr. Craig Grant.
Yeah.
You got it. That is a staple. I remember when I was working on this quick story. I remember when I was working security for the mayor's office. This is back at 2014 or something like that. And we had my favorite hip hop group in town. It was the Roots, and then Jill Scott. Oh yeah. Now, I love me some Jill Scott.
Yes, sir.
My wife knows this. I can say that.
Yes, sir.
I love me some Jill Scott, and I love me some Roots. So we ended up, he wanted some chicken, and we ended up taking Questlove. We ended up taking Questlove down to Green Acres Chicken. He ordered a 6-piece for himself, and he came. Before we got down the street, we ended up having to make the block and come back because he ended up ordering so much chicken that day because he was buying it for the crew. And that was the same day that I met and got to be the security for Jill Scott. And you would tell you about how safe she was that day.
Yeah.
Because I was just right there with her because I love me some Jill Scott.
Yes, sir.
I love me some
Yes,
Jill
sir.
Scott. But that day, let me stop before I
Yes, we can't help you when you
I
need
know,
help.
right? I'm sleeping down here in the studio.
So, this is the last one.
Yeah.
All right. Marlon Lawrence or Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, my man.
Eddie Murphy. I mean, look, I love Mike. You know what I'm saying? I love Mike, but hey, Eddie Murphy has done it, man. He's a rock star, and he's still funny. He's funny when he ain't even trying to be.
Yes, sir.
He's one person I've never met. But, yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate you
Thank
coming.
you so
Thank
much.
y'all. This has been real fun.
Any last words, man?
I think he's answered everything.
Great.
Excited.
Hey, we appreciate y'all watching. Like I said, please go vote.
May 19th.
May 19th, go vote. Please. Catch y'all next time.